This is All Access MMA.
My next guest was one of the big winners this past weekend at UFC Vegas 45, getting that submission victory over Dustin Stoltzfus. It is Gerald Meerschaert back here on the program. Gerald, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great now, James. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, but I did not pick up a big win this past weekend. But before we get into that, you know how I know you're becoming a dad? When we were confirming this interview today, you said, and I quote, I'll read the text message here, "I am in there like swimwear." Have you fully embraced the dad role now?
Yeah, no, I've been saying dad jokes for a while, so if anything, this gives me more of an excuse to keep that going.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that as a fellow dad. I thought that was great. Put a big smile on my face. And seeing you get that win, man, was the same way. What a victory that was. I know you never make it easy in these fights, but before we talk about the performance itself, have you sort of been able to soak in that you've gone 3-0 this year, man? It's been a great calendar year for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. You know, Christmas is right around the corner, so I got my work cut out for me getting the house ready for relatives and getting all like my little last minute shopping done and stuff like that. But I'm trying to enjoy the moment. I'm, having some realistic reflection about the fight and how it went down and like what did contribute or didn't contribute to a performance I would have preferred. But, like I said, I'm 3-0 in 1 year. I extended my record in the middleweight division, and now I think I saw I'm tied for 5th all time in the UFC. So, it's a great feeling.
How did you feel going into that third round? I was curious. Did you feel like you had won any of those rounds previously, or did you feel like you were down? Because I know it's different when you're actually fighting in there as opposed to what we were watching on TV.
Oh, no, I was down too, for sure. I mean, I won the first half of the first round, but then I just did so much of nothing in the last part of it. I didn't even think want to give myself the benefit of the doubt in my head that I got the first. I saw a couple people said I might have got the first, but, I was like, nah, I'm probably down to. I was tired from the get-go, and I just didn't quite recover correctly or something, looking back on it. But hey, I knew I had to dig deep, and I was like, it's now or never. I have to get it finished. I got to suck it up. The tough get going when the going gets tough, and I got out there and I got it done.
How confident were you in getting the finish? Because we've seen you do this before where it's just like once it gets to the ground, you kind of, when you get into the right position, you feel like your ground game is better than most in the weight class. Were you worried at all you wouldn't get the finish?
I didn't really, it wasn't worry, I would say, but I knew there was a definite sense of urgency. And I knew if I could get to his back or get in a really dominant position, it's going to be really hard to stop me from choking you, especially at that point in the fight. As tired as I was, I knew he was getting tired. As much inactivity as there was at times, he was still expending a lot of energy, really holding certain positions, really trying to control me, putting a lot of effort into just like not letting me move around and do what I want to do. So, and I know when it gets down to the wire like that, I don't care how tired I am, I can always muster up something and come back with something. And, we're that sweaty already. It's really hard to defend, chokes especially. So I knew if I could get the back, I could get it done.
Was there anything about him that surprised you in the fight?
Not particularly. Pretty much everything he did, I kind of expected. Maybe he had a little bit, obviously he adjusted his game plan pretty well for me. I think he did a pretty good job of getting on top and kind of getting to that little almost power half type anaconda or Dar setup position. And he controlled that really well. So it kind of put me in a position where just feeling the way I was, it was hard to get up because if I do stand up there, I give up the possibility of getting kneed in the face as soon as I come up because it's not quite a tie clinch, but it's given the same threat. And then if I charge in too fast, he can lock up a deep choke. So that was a really a smart tactical decision I did. Smart.
Were you surprised you didn't get the bonus?
A little bit, but man, there were a lot of good finishes that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had some really big knockouts. I mean, I think it was tied for some of the most finishes on a UFC card, tied for third or something, or almost in the year. So, can't be too disappointed. Cub Swanson had a great finish. The other finish with that push kick was really, impressive. And I think, just about every other fight on the card had something big. I figured Derek Lewis would probably get a finish if he got a knockout. So, there goes one for sure.
Yeah, no, tough fighting on a card with Lewis. How did you end up celebrating after the fight? Because I know your good friend and teammate, this is something we talked about sort of leading into the fight. Bilal Muhammad was also fighting right after you.
Yeah, so that was really cool. That was the first UFC fight card me and Bilal had shared together, fighting on the same card. We got to hang out a little bit, which was awesome. I got to see some of his process and everything. And, Lou Taylor was there with him, Ratio, Ignacio, and Mike Valley. And I'm cool with all those guys too, obviously. So it was just nice to be around familiar faces and guys we've worked with before. Oh, that's all right, buddy. Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. He's just talking about the win,
Yeah. So, but it was great. It was a really great thing.
Awesome. And I know we're fresh off this win and just a couple days removed. Any idea when you want to get back in there? I know you got to enjoy the holidays, do the whole Christmas thing, the Griswolds, by the sounds of it on your end. You got a lot of people coming over, but when are you looking to have your next fight?
So hopefully they give me a little bit of a break because, like I said in some interviews before, I'd like to fight. If I had my pick, and I know I don't really decide how the matchmaking goes, but if I had a choice, I would say mid to late April or early May. And I know they're already scheduling people for like March and April and stuff like that. So I've done before in my career with the UFC where I've had some 6 month, periods between fights, and not just to recover and like get back to being healthy, but I also want to get my own school started in February or late February, early March. So I'd like to get that up and running for a couple months before I, really dedicate myself to a camp and have all that stuff going on at once.
And because of that time frame, are you sort of waiting to see, how the division sort of shakes out as far as the next opponent, or do you have anyone in mind that would be a fun style matchup for you going forward?
I'm not thinking about none of that right now. I'm thinking about getting ready. And honestly, especially the state of MMA today, like people get hurt so fast, rankings change, guys come up out of nowhere. Like there's a lot of exciting stylistic matchups. Everybody in the UFC is tough. Like obviously that last one on paper is probably the most favorable that I should have been in a fight. And, I looked better in my last two fights than I did in that one. So, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who they put in there with you. It's, if I'm in there, I'm going to make it exciting one way or another.
Do you think this gets you a ranked opponent? You went 3-0 this year. I mean, that looks good in the eyes of the UFC, and that's typically what you would see in getting a ranked opponent. What's your gut feeling?
Man, I don't know. I have no idea. Like I said, the stuff changes all the time, especially with the middleweight division lately. Like Adesanya's, pretty cemented on the top. They got him and Whitaker coming up. Everybody else has either already fought him or is like kind of working towards that point. So, I don't know. And I've seen guys try to get top 15. Brendan Allen was supposed to fight Tavares, and that ended up not happening. So you can't bank on a ranked opponent. And honestly, I think if you get enough win streak going, they'll just rank you anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not against fighting the guy with a number next to his name, but I don't think it's the end all be all either.
I know it wasn't a clean sweep for all your buddies on the weekend. Tyron Woodley, unfortunately, losing to Jake Paul. Have you spoken to Tyron since the fight? I was curious about that.
I have not. I know didn't really talk to him before the fight. He had his own thing going on. I had my fight going on. We're good friends. Obviously, I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm sure he's doing just fine.
Yeah, you got a nice payday out of that at the very least. You kind of mentioned there off the top. What is the holidays looking like for you? You said you got some family coming over. What's that looking like as far as dad and family, Gerald Meerschaert, going forward?
Yeah, so we'll have for sure we'll have people Christmas Eve, got stuff Christmas Day, people coming in out of town. A lot of a lot of the same, I'm sure, as everybody else is doing. Probably do a little bit of driving, but I think a lot of people will be coming to us, so that's kind of nice.
What's your favorite Christmas meal? Like, are you a turkey guy? Or you like stuffing? What's on the agenda?
Man, I love stuffing and mashed potatoes, but I think this year I'll probably do a small ham, and I'm thinking I'm doing a prime rib roast. So I got that smoker, nice. And I'm looking to put that to good use.
Will you have any fighters over for the holidays, or is it just family and friends?
Well, I got to get Bilal over at some time during this holiday season because he's got a Traeger and he doesn't know how to use the dang thing. He's just getting on there, like throwing it on high and just steering everything. So I told him I have to have him over to come see the house and hang out and teach him how to really use that smoker and, get the most out of it.
There we go. Gerald, thanks so much for doing this, and happy holidays. If I don't talk to you, if there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, my name's long and complicated. Try and spell it as best you can. I'm sure you'll find me on all social media. Shout out to all my training partners in my gym and everybody else.